Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. What's up? What's going down? Gravecrawler here, and today I'm bringing you my first ever Flesh and Blood video. Flesh and Blood has been my favourite card game for about the last 4 years now, and I realised recently that I've never done a video on it. So what better time to start than right now? And today I'm going to be doing a Silver Age deck tech about Arakni, Web of Deceit. So, full transparency with this deck, I don't think this deck is fantastic. I know that's not a great way to start a deck tech, but it's certainly not going to be one of the pillars of the format, this hero or this deck. Those firmly are, and I do believe the community currently has got it pretty much spot on, that before compendium releases, certainly the best decks in the format are definitely Azalea and Briar when it comes to the more aggro end of things. And then if you want the format to slow right down or fatigue, Alden is there to do it. But this deck that I've got is just fun. I'm really enjoying Arakni right now, and it's doing quite well locally. Is it the top winning deck right now? No, but it's still getting good wins, and I'm really enjoying it, so I wanted to share it with you today. So, where do I begin with this deck? Blade Beckoners. The headpiece in this deck isn't that flashy, that exciting, so Blade Beckoners comes in. I could maybe see a world in which I get a second piece of Blade Beckoners just because the equipment is that good in this format, but for now, just the headpiece will suffice. Blossom of Spring is the chess piece of choice, and I think it's fairly decent to just smooth out turns where we want to lead with things like, say, Public Bounty, or we want to float a resource for things such as Two Sides to the Blade or Stains of the Redback if they're not marked, or Spike with Blood Rots. It does eliminate a little bit of surprise, admittedly, but I think it's still good given that we're very redline in this deck, that we have that ability to just get that resource as and when we need it for a big pop-off turn. Then we've got Danger Digits. It's just a sad version of Flick Knives at the end of the day, but it's still there to do a job, and most of the time it's unmitigatable damage along with the mark that we get off of Mark of the Huntsman. And we've got Spider's Bite as well for those longer matchups. And then finally, we've got Starting Point, which allows us to go wide in the deck as well to keep our opponent guessing. And also, it's really good as an interaction with things like, say, Double Trouble, just to give an extra attack reaction itself. So yeah, that's the main equipment suite. And in the sideboard, we are running Nullrune Hood. I'm going greedy and I'm just going AB1. I've not been that impressed so far with arcane heavy lists, so I'm just putting AB1 in the list. Plus we are very redline heavy, so we don't have the ability to very easily pitch to a larger amount of AB anyway. But yeah, Nullrune AB1 in the list just for Rune Blades effectively, which are another fantastic deck. Anyway, onto the main board. If aggro is going to be at the forefront of the meta, I've got to put this card in. This card can effectively be, you know, a 0 for 4 with an on hit at times, and it still blocks 3. Absolutely fantastic. Double Trouble again is effectively a 0 for 5, and it's good in those fatigue situations to threaten the top 2 cards of our opponent's deck. Other cards in the stealth package, 0 for 5 if you're not going to block me. Infect is just, it demands the answer, or it's just going to be a 0 for 5. And then speaking of demanding an answer, we are running the full rainbow suite of Mark of the Black Widow. This is the bread and butter of the list. This is why we're running it, and this card's so fantastic. It's basically saying block me or you're going to suffer as a result of it. Then I think it's worthy of mentioning the Mark package itself, because clearly when mentioning cards like Mark of the Black Widow, we need to mention how we're marking. Now, sadly, we don't have access to Hunters as one of our knives, so we have to make do with the main deck doing a bit more heavy lifting when it comes to marking. So that's why I've included 2 copies of Mark the Prey in the list. We also have Public Bounty, allowing mark to happen and pumping an attack as well. Then we also have Pursue to the Edge of Oblivion, which is a really nice chain ender, because a lot of the time in Arakni, you really want to be starting your turn with a mark, using that mark then to do whatever you need to do, whether it be hit with Mark of the Black Widow or get that bonus, and then you want to end the turn marking as well, so that then you can transform, and Pursue to the Edge of Oblivion does that really well, plus it blocks 3 as well, so been really high on this card actually. Then we've got Scar Tissue, giving a dagger on hit mark, which is pretty nice because it also means that we don't have to destroy the dagger in order to inflict the mark on our opponent, so it means that we can get an extra use out of one of these daggers, which is very, very nice. Then we've got the one mode from 2 sides to the blade that is allowing the stealth attack to get mark on hit. Then we have one of my favorites, Reaper's Call. It's a blue block 3 that also instants marks the opponent. There's so many cool tricks you can do with this card, but it's an auto include for me. And then finally, one of the cards that me and a good friend of mine have been debating. I really like Exposed. He does not, because it's not a block 3. He's a very, very good player and an assassin specialist, but I'm disobeying him here because I think this card is great. The first line of text is not happening to me at all currently, so it's not a major drawback. It is a blue, so if Frostbites or more blues are demanded in the list, we have it there. But also being able to mark at attack reaction speed and get a +1 pump is fantastic. And if you're in base Arakni form, it's kind of a +2 as well, because you're getting the +1 from this and then +1 from your opponent being marked when a stealth attack comes in. So really, really good card there. That's the main package when it comes to marking. Then there's attack reactions. Mostly there's some version of 0-1 for +3 or -3. So Razor's Edge, +3 on a stealth attack. Stains, +3 on a stealth attack, but this one will give go again, so we can go wider with it. Then we've got Shred. Effectively, it's -3 to the defense, but it's also a yellow, so it means that we can pitch for daggers if need be. And then we've got Orb Weaver Spinneret, +3 to the next stealth attack, and it's creating the Graphene Calicera, which is really important because these certainly Mark of the Huntsman will go very quickly in this list, so being able to get another dagger up quickly is very, very important. And then, now, one of the cards that I've been very, very impressed by, which I don't see in many lists at all, and this was my friend's inclusion, and I will shout out George for this one, Bite in blue. Really good. It is a blue block 3. It is a stealth attack, but more importantly, it is really good in those endgame situations. So I had a game last week where my opponent was at 2, and as soon as I drew this, I knew I'd won. I came in with the Bite, used the ability that when this attacks a hero, you may have the target dagger you control deal 1 damage to them. That comes in, had another dagger and danger digits up, and flicked the second dagger for the win. Card is great in endgame situations, and it's also a block 3. So yeah, I think that's it pretty much for the main board. Onto the sideboard, Arcane Polarity. This is in for Runeblades. This is in for Arcane matchups. It's effectively just, we need to keep life up against them. and being able to take 1 rune chant and then gain 4 is very, very good. Then we've got Cut from the Same Cloth, which is a +4 pump on the next dagger, but also more importantly, I would say, you're hoping to bring this in against attack reaction heavy lists so that you can mark them as well. Then we've got the trap package for the list, and most of the time we want to be running at least 1 of these cards just so that we don't get a miss from Arakni Trapdoor. So we're running Den of the Spider against anybody that is pumping their attack, so maybe Brute with Mites, or Guardian, say, for example, or even, say, Mirror Matches. Anybody that's going beyond their base, we want to mark when we defend. And then at the opposite end, if people are going wide, very aggressive, your Briars of the world, we can bring in things like Layer here to mark and then start our turn with a mark. On the Horizon is also in the list just so that we can get a block 4 because we don't have Sync Belows, we don't have Fate for Scenes, it's so sad. But on the Horizon is just a block 4. It's things like Crush Effects, it's things like Azalea. Looking at the top card of the deck is close to irrelevant, but being able to block 4 is just needed sometimes. So yeah, that is the list. As I said, it's doing okay so far. I would say this is more the foundation level of the deck. I think that we can make iterations to target certain aspects of the meta more, which I think is a good advantage to this deck. But right now, I would say this is more the foundation of the deck. But yeah, I hope you enjoy. If you've got any comments about maybe cards that I should consider for the list, please let me know in the comments down below. I would love to do more of these videos, and I really want to just engage with the community any way I can. So any comments would be most appreciated. And on that note, I'll see you later. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye for now.